So let's talk a little bit more about, I guess your transition into like product management. Like, how did you break into that field? Because I feel like a lot of students don't know a lot about product management, but when they hear about it, they just don't know like how to get started. Like some think like, oh, I need to have like a CS background, or like, oh, I need to do X, Y, and Z. Like, what are your tips for students who are trying to get some experience for product management positions?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it is a bit of a black box for like university students.
Hmm.
It used to be much more traditionally like an MBA focused field. And so, like, there definitely are like very limited opportunities for undergrads. I think like the main thing I would give in terms of advice is like, well, I use this site called the APM list. I think it's just called apmlist.com, or you can Google it, that has like I think somebody really nice just like updates that site whenever like applications open, and they have like an APM, but they also have internships. And since there's so few, like when they open, if you're really looking to get into product management, you need to like apply, like much like the college, like getting into college. I think a lot of things in the job search world are similar in that it's a numbers game. Like
Mm,
one, you have to kind of put yourself out there, and of course you're going to get rejected like a lot of times. Like I'm getting rejected for jobs I forgot I applied to, like it just happens. But I also think
right.
like at one point you got to keep applying. And then the second
Hmm.
thing, I think also like if you have any connections to the PM world, like somebody you know who's a PM, somebody you know who's an APM,
Mm,
like even if you like aren't like great friends with them, or like like you like met them once, you like kind of know them, they probably know your name, like definitely reach out. Like
yeah.
I know now, like as somebody who's graduated, if somebody from Berkeley that I like met once reached out, I'd be happy to talk, because like who wouldn't? Like you kind
Right.
of like nobody's gonna be like mad about that. And I think
Yeah.
you just have to like approach it and kind of get like your foot in the door. And like one, that person may be able to refer you to their company, or at least like two, they'll give you some advice on like, oh, like if you have an interview coming up, what can you say? Because like those are the people that have gone through all of these interviews, which are
Hmm.
usually very, very like hard to prepare for somewhat. And also
Right.
like there are very certain things that people are usually looking for in PM interviews, especially for undergrads. So yeah, I mean, I think like just don't be afraid about like reaching out to people. And at least for me, like I got really lucky that I got a product management internship my freshman year, because like I kind of went into it asking for it. Like that company, they were looking for an intern, and I said I want to be in PM, and so then they were like, oh, like yeah, we can like get you into our PM team, but that wasn't like initially what they were recruiting for.
Wow.
And then from there, like Tripwire was is a pretty small company, and then from there I like used a connection I got through the house fund, who like he like had left, he started his own startup, but he used to be a PM at Reddit. And so I just like emailed him and I was like, hey, I've applied through like their normal portal, but I'm like really interested, and I know you worked there. And he was like a PM at Reddit, like when Reddit was really small.
Right.
And so he was like, yeah, I'll email like my resume, your resume, to the recruiter. And
That's
like
so
he did
nice.
it, and like within a day I got a response. And like I had submitted an application to Reddit like a month ago, and I hadn't gotten anything back. And so like
Wow.
I think it shows you like, as much as I hate to say it, like you like it is kind of a connections and a network thing.
Right.
Um, I mean, even for Lyft, like now where I'm going to go after I graduate, like
Mhm.
Nika, who is currently a
Did
Lyft
you?
AP, actually she's a Lyft PM now.
Yeah.
She was a TBG alumni, and she also was like somebody who I met because she did a dual degree at Berkeley before the MET
Yeah.
program existed. So she's like a god.
Yeah.
And so I contacted her, like she gave me a referral to the APM program, the Lyft APM program. And I think like without her, I definitely, not definitely, well, I most probably wouldn't have gotten like that first round interview. And I
Right.
think like the referrals are just really helpful. Like once you get into the interview rounds, at that point, it's like up to you and like your skills to get through the whatever happens next. But I
Right.
think a referral or like a connection can like help you go from like that huge application pool to like the much smaller, like more less substantial like interview pool that they actually like start to like get to know you. And like that's
Right.
where you can really show yourself, right? Because like a resume is only like so much of who you are.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. In terms of my experience for like software engineering internships, I realize like getting your foot into the door is a lot to do with networking at hackathons in my experience. Like
Mhm.
my first internship or like real internship at like a medium-sized company like at Etsy was going to Cal Hacks, talking to the recruiter, and like having a really great conversation and like following up with her to get like that coding challenge. And I definitely recommend for students who like have like limited experience, like me when I was applying to Etsy, to really put yourself out there and contact people that you might have talked to like once or twice, to like see what opportunities there are for you. And now like that I'm in like my third year, like those relationships that you build in like your early internships, like you mentioned how you like met some really cool people like at Tripwire and you met that person who worked at Reddit like early on. Like
Mhm.
those connections are really important. So definitely in your early internships, definitely cultivate those relationships and like keep in touch with those people because they can help you in the future for years to come. So definitely like make the most out of like those experiences and meet as many people as possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.